This top 5 video was requested by OAW patron Dijon Powers. Salute to you, sir. And if you have a request for a top 5 video of your own, become a patron. Patreon.com/OAW. At the $15 tier, not only do you get your request for a top 5 video, you also get access to all Patreon exclusive content. You get access to the OAW Vault. You get access to the OAW Discord server. And you also get an invite to join in on the live monthly Q&A held right here on the OAW YouTube channel, as well as the OAW Facebook page and OAW Twitch channel. So once again, that is patreon.com/OAW and select that top 5 tier. And with that being said, this is my list of my top 5 favorite DC Comics characters. Let's get started.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Greetings to everyone watching live and everyone watching after the fact. Shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, here to bring you all another long-awaited top 5 video, right? So once again, another huge shout out to my man Dijon Powers for requesting this one via Patreon. And so this is going to be my list for my top 5 favorite DC Comics characters. Now, here's the funny thing about this one. So I have in the past discussed these characters at length in other videos. This will be the first time where I've ever dedicated a full video compiling a full list of said characters. And this one, I think this one was requested not long after I did my Marvel one. So and I know a lot of you guys been hitting me up and leaving comments and whatnot, inquiring when this one was coming out. And since this is the opening weekend of Matt Reeves' The Batman, now seems like a good as time as any as to finally go ahead and knock this one out. So I will be giving you all my list. If you guys have any of your faves, feel free to drop those in the comments. And so let's go ahead and let's get this thing started. All right, so let me go ahead and get my screen share working. Activate screen share. All right, let's do the damn thing. So coming in, starting the list off at number 5 is none other than the big bad booty daddy himself. That is Lord Darkseid. Yeah, so all right, I won't give you guys a full rundown of like characters' origins and stuff like that. Not in this video. For the most part, I'll just be letting you guys know why they made it onto my list and what I like so much about the character. So Darkseid, one of Jack Kirby's creations from the New Gods and his Fourth World series. Okay, so Darkseid is my favorite DC villain, just straight up. Is he the most compelling? No. Is he necessarily the most intriguing? No. Does he have the best stories? No, not necessarily. A lot of times Darkseid is portrayed as like just the final big bad, the big bad to end all big bads just because he's so powerful. And there's only a handful of characters in the DCU that can really go toe to toe with him. This is then the third. All of that's cool. All right. All of that is cool. What I like about Darkseid is the bravado, right? Darkseid very much, once again, he is a new god. He very much acts as though he is one. He acts as though all living things are beneath him. And he is malevolence incarnate in no uncertain terms. He ain't to be fooled with, and he makes sure that everyone knows he's not to be fooled with. I got introduced to, I think a lot of people in my age group, were introduced to Darkseid via Superman the Animated Series. That's how I was first introduced to the character. Voiced spectacularly by Michael Ironside, did such a great job in that role, and just kept up with him and his appearances ever since. I wish, my fingers are still crossed that at some point we will get a proper representation of him on the big screen, because I'm not counting, the Schneider cut, because again, that was a streaming thing, and he was barely in the movie. But hopefully we will get to see the character done proper, and hopefully they'll be able to do him justice. But yeah, I always like Darkseid just because of his bravado. He has one of my favorite monologues in all of comics. That is his anti-life equation monologue. It is awesome. I love it so much. And yeah, man, he is to me, he is sort of the epitome of I won't say darkness, but I will say malevolence in the DCU. Very few characters can really fool with Darkseid, even from a supervillain standpoint. Very few can match him. So yeah, big bad not to be fooled with, and that's why he made it to number 5 on my list. Yes, sir. All right, so moving right along. This one might be a surprise to a few people. So coming in at the number 4 spot on my list is none other than John Constantine. Yes, that is how you pronounce it. It is Constantine. And yeah, he made it. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you what's funny about this, because like I said, I had to go back and redo my list. But ever since the New 52, when they officially brought him over into the DCU, that does now officially qualify him as a DC Comics character. Because prior to that, we only got John in the Vertigo books. And, every now and then he would pop up in a main DC book, but he was never considered part of like the DCU canon. Now he is, so now I can put him on this list. And if that's the case, yep, he comes in at number 4 because, okay, so why do I like John? Of course, I'm talking about, John Constantine, the main protagonist of the Hellblazer indie comics by Alan Moore. So why do I like John? I like first off because of his personality, his persona, his profession, and pretty much his canon. So the world of Hellblazer, like just that world, and by extension of that, the Sandman world by Neil Gaiman, like that the occult side of the DCU has always intrigued me. And of course, Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, when they got their hands on that material, they just took it to another level. John is and has always been an intriguing character to me, just because of the sort of, I call it a pseudo ambiguity that they do with his character, because we know that John is a good guy. We know that by and large, he does mean well, but the manner in which he operates, it comes across as morally ambiguous to a lot of people. John has his stories have a lot of damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios, which is really cool. And that's what what makes his story so compelling, because the reader can see both sides of some of the situations that John is in, and they could argue either side of some of the decisions and some of the actions he takes. And a lot of times, like I said, it's one of those, damned if you do, damned if you don't situations. It's a lot of, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, where John will, take on a case, or he'll run across something where he means well. He wants to help someone, or he wants to solve something, but there are consequences for his actions, and either he will suffer them or other people will suffer them, into which he still has to bear the weight of other people getting harmed where it was never intended for him. That's kind of John's whole thing, if you really think about it. His whole thing is, whenever he comes in town, innocent people get hurt. And whether it's his fault directly or indirectly, whether he was able to prevent it or whether or not he wasn't, like, he has to sort of deal with that. And because of that, that is, and the other thing too is, because again, this is where sort of the moral ambiguity takes another level. John is reputed for being a con man. Another thing about John that I like is in his sort of sphere, right? In his circle, in his books, in his canon, he is more infamous than he is famous because his reputation is not it's not necessarily a positive one. It's sort of a negative reputation, and that's because John will go to extremes other people won't do in order to accomplish certain goals. So he doesn't necessarily mind fucking someone over if he thinks it's for the greater good, or if he thinks it's going to help someone who is less fortunate than the person he's fucking over. John is very Robin Hood-esque in that sense. Like, he has that sort of mentality. And then, of course, there are times where he looks at things sort of like, well, hey, it rains on the rich and the poor alike, right? So it's like, wow, I can go ahead and affect change for this character, or, in this particular situation, just because it's going to blow back on somebody else. Well, fuck it, then that's just the roll of the dice. John kind of has that to him too. But all that being said, because I know I've been spending a lot of time talking about this one character, but these are the things that I find fascinating about John. Now, of course, again, like I want to say most of the people in my age group were probably introduced to this character first through the Keanu Reeves film from 2000. What was that? 2005. Yeah, from 2005. Because from what I can tell, and from all the all of the Constantine fans that I know of, the older ones grew up with the comics. And so the older, like pretty much the Gen Xers, they grew up with the comics. So they don't immediately go to that film. And they're also the ones who were most critical of that film. I liked that film. I enjoyed it a lot. And that's what made me want to go back and look up the character proper. And then that's how I became a fan of the character full blown. But yeah, I've always found him to be a fascinating character. We actually now have had this character twice in live action. Keanu Reeves in his film, and then what's my boy's name? Matt Ryan in the television shows. And he's perfect in that role. That is a really good portrayal of that character. I just wish he had better material. But yeah, Constantine, definitely number 4 on my list. Love him. Love the guy. All right. So, water break. Let's see. Now we are... Okay, so these last 3... I think everybody will be able to figure out just because I've talked about them at length on the channel before. So these won't be a surprise to anybody at all. And I promise I won't spend too much time talking about them. All right. So coming in at number 3 is none other than the superheroine herself, Wonder Woman. All right. So we all know who Wonder Woman is. So I won't spend too much time talking so much about, the character, their origin, or anything like that. Just why do I love Wonder Woman so much? Again, like I said, she's the original superheroine. I was introduced to her, very young age, because I grew up on the Linda Carter TV series. And I love that TV series when I was a kid. I love it even now, even for, it's for its cheesiness, for its hokiness and whatnot. But it's still a really good show, especially for the time. Still a really good show. But in terms of the character, Diana, Diana's had a very interesting publication history. Different creators, different, writers have taken the character in so many different directions. But at her core, being the female counterpart, right, to Superman, to Batman, and being, of course, with her origins coming from being inspired by Greek mythology, which I've always been a fan of, and how even though that character is, going through some changes, because you can pinpoint the phases of Wonder Woman. Actually, you can probably pinpoint them as easily as you can pin the decades, because she wasn't the same in the 60s that she was in the 50s. She wasn't the same in the 70s that she was in the 60s. Damn sure wasn't the same in the 80s that she was in the 70s. We went back to form in the 90s, and then we did different things in 2000s, things like that. But Diana, the whole Amazon princess, warrior princess. I mean, hell, she's the fucking she's pretty much the architect for Xena. That's how we got Xena Warrior Princess. I mean, that's pretty much Wonder Woman right there. But yeah, that Amazonian warrior, Cole, the whole fight for justice thing. Of course, I've always been more of a fan of the character as it pertains to her fantastical elements, not so much the more contemporary stuff. But yeah, I've always liked Wonder Woman just as a character, period. Always. Of course, my favorite version of her is still the Justice League, the animated series version, voiced by Susan Eisenberg. Still my favorite portrayal of the character. Still the one that I think is the most accurate in terms of getting to the heart of said character. That's not to knock the live action film with Gal Gadot, even though that film is decades too late. But not to knock that film, because actually, oddly enough, I actually do like that film, but I don't think they really get to the heart of Diana in that movie. In my opinion, I don't think they do. And I've always been critical of Gal Gadot in that role, because I didn't think that she was the best choice for it. I certainly understand why she got the role, and she does have a presence, and yeah, maybe it's the material. Actually, no, I don't think it is the material. I don't think it is the material. I don't think it is the material. I don't. In this case, I don't think it is the material. But yeah. So yeah. All right, that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to get off on a tangent on full-blown Wonder Woman movie review. Actually, I don't think I have reviewed that movie proper yet, but I don't want to get on a full-blown tangent with a Wonder Woman movie review. Not tonight. Not tonight. All right, so now number 2 is going to be a no-brainer to anybody whatsoever. And yeah, number 2 is a no-brainer to no one. Of course, the big bad bat himself, Batman, number 2 favorite DC Comics character. For the longest time was my number 1. For what, the first third of my life was my number 1. And I won't spend too much time on this either. Of course, I was born in, so funny enough, not only was I born in 89, I was born 3 days before the first Tim Burton film came out. That film came out June 23rd, 1989, 3 days after I was born. And I grew up on the Batman films. I grew up with the animated series. Grew up, actually, first comic I ever picked up was a Batman comic. Those were the first like superhero comics period that I ever read were Batman comics. I had the action figures. I played the video games, dressed up for them for Halloween, all that jazz. I mean, we all love Batman. Everybody loves Batman. Now, I see a couple of people in the chat are commenting. I guess people were guessing that I would say like Terry McGinnis Batman, Batman Beyond, because I've always said that's my favorite Batman. But for the sake of this video, like that doesn't really matter. Like Batman in general, right? Whether it's Bruce, whether it's Terry, it's just number 2 is Batman, right? Yes, Terry is my personal favorite, but I grew up with the original. We all grew up with Bruce. For the sake of this video, when I say number 2, I mean just Batman in general. Yeah. Still my and like I said, Terry is still my favorite of the Batmen, right? My favorite portrayal of Batman still to this day is the Kevin Conroy Timverse animated series / Justice League version of the character. Love him. So yeah, that's why he is number 2 on my list. Now, I did originally have planned. Yeah, I guess we got enough. I'm looking at the clock now. We got enough time, real quick. So yeah, we do have enough time. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw at you guys some honorable mentions. These are just other favorites of mine that come from DC Comics. Of course, we got, let's see, Green Arrow, Canary, Huntress, Jean, Hawk Girl. I've never really been that big of a fan of Hawk Man, but Hawk Girl, I've been a fan of both Shira and Kendra. Both of them I dig. Let's see. So of course, Green Lantern. John Stewart's my favorite of the Green Lanterns. Green Lantern, Flash, Wally's my favorite of the Flash, but I like them all essentially. Let's see. Okay, we start talking about some tight. Well, Robin. Which would be Tim is my favorite Robin because of course Dick Grayson, I always like him better as Nightwing. Somebody asked me about Batgirl recently, and both Barbara and Stephanie, I both like them. Yeah, both of them I like. And then Raven, that's my girl. I like OG Cyborg. I have not liked anything they have done with Cyborg since New 52. So pretty much anything they've done with Cyborg in the last 10 years, I haven't cared for. I like OG Cyborg. George Perez Cyborg, New Teen Titans Cyborg. Yeah, that's my jam. Spectre, Dr. Fate. I like Aquaman. I don't know if I can ever consider Aquaman a favorite of mine, though. I mean, I like him just fine. I don't know if I'd ever consider him a favorite. And you know what? I'm just listing heroes. I mean, because we start talking villains, of course, like the vast majority of Batman's rogues gallery, I like. From the Superman canon, Zod, Brainiac, Luthor, Atomic Skull. I think. Is Atomic Skull? I think he is originally a Superman villain. Yeah, Atomic Skull, Toyman, Livewire. I can mention Livewire. She comes from the animated series, but still, Livewire. Let me see what other Cheetah. I've always liked. Black Manta. Okay, haven't always been an Aquaman fan, but Black Manta has always been my dude. I've always liked Black Manta. I've always thought he was freaking cool. Let's see. Who's another in terms of a villain? Oh, Sinestro. Yeah. Sinestro. Definitely. I'm trying to think of another one. I like the Flash villain. I mean, Flash has so many of them. I like them just fine. I don't know if I'd put any of them on my favorites, though, necessarily. Which is kind of weird now that I think about it. Of all of the Flash's villains, I don't know if I'd put any of them on my favorites list. But yeah, so that's just a list. I mean, it wasn't even a short list. But that's just a list of some honorable mentions from me. And that will then take me to my number one. Actually, let me clear out that tab. And that'll take me to my number one favorite DC Comics character. And this is not a surprise to anybody watching this video whatsoever. That is none other than the Man of Steel himself, the father of the modern day. I guess that's the modern day conception of the superhero. He wasn't the first superhero, but he is the first in terms of what we consider as superheroes. He's the template that, to use the saying, the true mark of greatness is when everything before you is rendered obsolete, and everything after you bears your mark. He is, of course, we've had, costume heroes before him, but when Superman came along, completely changed the genre, changed the game, and helped establish an industry, because the comic book industry was still very young back then. But yeah, Superman, what can I say about the character that I haven't already said before? I have not countless, there's a handful of videos talking about my affinity for the character, why he's number one. Superman for me transcends just being a piece of pop culture entertainment to actually being an actual thing, to an ideal to aspire to in my personal life. Much of what I have come to incorporate into what I would consider my belief system, my code, if you will, code of ethics, if you will. A lot of it is based off of the themes and messages and lessons taught with the character, by the character, from the character, through the character, over the decades, coming up almost on the century that the character has been with us. Yeah. So, because what is it? Superman will be 100 in 5 years, I think. His initial conception, I think, is 1927. Yeah, his initial conception, and then he was first published in 29, right? Or is it? No, I'm thinking, no, 39, I think. Yeah, 39. He was first published in 39. Yeah. So so the character, no. Okay, yeah. I'm off by a decade. 39. Yeah. He was published in 39. Originally conceived, I think, in 37. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I'm right. On that. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts about what I think about the character and whatnot, just because I'm kind of pressed for time, by all means, check out my Smallville season 1 review. I have another video called Is Superman Irrelevant? I'm trying to think, what's another video where I really talk about, like, get in depth with the character. But yeah, those are just a couple of two. But I mean, guys, y'all can just search Superman on the channel, and you'll probably find at least 5 videos with me talking about the character. Even the very first top 5 I did was my top 5 favorite Justice League, the animated series episodes, and I go in depth talking about the character in that, because most of my favorite episodes had Superman in it. So yeah. All right, well, I am coming up on 30 minutes, so we're not going to make this too long. We're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap things up. So just a quick recap of this list. My number 5, Darkseid. Number 4, John Constantine. Number 3, Wonder Woman. Number 2, the Batman. And finally, number 1 is the Man of Steel himself, Superman. And that is going to wrap up my top 5 favorite DC Comics characters. So once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody watching live. Thanks everyone for watching after the fact. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, facebook.com/OAW Entertainment, twitter.OAWENTMT, twitch.tv/OAW_entertainment, right here on youtube.com/OAW Entertainment. And last but certainly not least, if you have yet to do so, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW. If you have a top 5 you would like to request, become a patron. Patreon.com/OAW. Select the top 5 tier. And one more time, another huge shout out to my man, longtime OAW faithful and OAW patron, Dejon Patterson Powers. Thank you so much for this request. Thank you so much for all the other ones I got to do that you've requested coming away. I know I'm behind, but I'm catching up, baby. I'm catching up. So I got this one out the way. I got some more for you. They're coming. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for being such a supporter of the channel. Greatly appreciated. So, guys, what to keep an eye out for coming down the pike on the channel, because we got so much going on the channel now. I think you guys will really, really appreciate some of the stuff we're working on. So tune in tomorrow night, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, for our live review of Matt Reeves' The Batman. That is happening tomorrow night. You are not going to want to miss that. And then of course next week, my man the Cold-Blooded Wayne Chisholm will be back, bringing you guys some more anime and manga reviews, as well as the CBJ&J podcast. That's going to be up. That's going to be up next week as well. And then, of course, I got 2 more top 5s coming for you guys next weekend. And then, and I won't announce next Sunday's live stream until the end of tomorrow's show. But remember, so tomorrow night, live, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time is our live review of The Batman. Do not miss it. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I am signing off. And until next time, peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?